We had a question on the table before we left about co-signed or joint debts. And I really want to get this out here and try to explain it all to you in a way that's going to make a little bit of sense to everybody. And the reason why is sometimes we have people who come in, husband and wife, and they're joint on a mortgage, on a promissory note, on a car payment. Usually they have the same game plan. In other words, we're going to keep the car, we're going to keep paying for it, or we both want to walk away from the car. That's simple. What about somebody who has a parent co-sign a loan for them? Or an aunt or an uncle co-sign a loan for them and the person can't afford the car anymore and they want to walk away from it. Well, then I get the joy of telling people, hey, if you can't afford this, that's what's going to happen. The creditor now is going to go after Aunt Sally on that debt. A little bit of a problem because now Aunt Sally is going to have a creditor calling her. She's not included in the bankruptcy. She's a joint obligor on the debt for the car. That's always a problem. There's things you can do in a Chapter 13 to protect a cosigner, but a little too complicated. I'd rather not deal with that on the show because it would take a little bit of a while. So, folks, if you're thinking about co-signing a debt for somebody other than your spouse, I really want you to consider your decision very, very, very. Don't take it lightly. In other words, think about this. And the best way I could say is, number one, can you guarantee this person's going to make all the payments? No. Well, then if you're going to co-sign the debt, my thought would be make sure you have an emergency fund set aside just in case this person cannot afford to make the payment every month. Number two, you want to make sure that that person sends you an email at least 5 days or a text message at least 5 days before the payment's due saying, I've made the payment, and you don't have to worry. And I know this sounds kind of silly because you just want to trust people, but really, if I'm co-signing a debt for somebody, I want to make sure that that person lives up to the obligation because my credit score can be affected by their failure to live up to the obligation. And sometimes it gets embarrassing. You know, he co-signed a debt for me, but I can't make the payment. Well, now's not the time for pride. Now's the time to, hey, you know, this person is more important to me than this stupid old debt. What can I do to protect them? Because now I can't make this payment. And again, it's not because I see a lot of things happen, folks, and it's not that somebody doesn't want to make the payment. It's that I can't afford to make it. I lost my job or I don't have the ability to make it. That's why I say if I'm going to be the co-signer, I want to protect myself just in case something bad happens to the other side. So I could put money aside in a savings account and say, hey, if you can't make this payment, I've got the money here to help you out. So make sure you do that. You want to make sure that that person makes the payment timely. That's a huge issue because any blemish on their credit report could be a blemish on mine as well. So it's really important that you take care of that. So think about that before you co-sign it for anybody else.